Welcome back to the Riders Pillions, the podcast where we dive deep into stories, cultures, lifestyle of the biking world. I'm your host, Kwena Wango. Today we've got a very special guest by the name of Grootman. Grootman, thank you for honoring the invitation to the Riders Pillions podcast. So can you please introduce yourself? Who is Grootman?
It's Grootman. So my full name ke Pogiso. Well, Grootman, my riding names. Faneke wa Matlala ke Mokoni wa Ntshidikgolo. Guy from Pretoria, at Ridgeville. That's where I was born, and there's a guy who is very passionate about riding and making difference to different people, from the kids who are vulnerable and the riders who are at a home. That's where we come in and help wherever we can possibly get.
All right. So, how did your riding journey begin?
A while ago, I was very fascinated by bikes. So I remember at Ridgeville, there was some sort of event, and there were like a lot of bikers. And there's a guy by the name of 12 Gauge. Mm-hmm. I actually asked the guy, "Do you mind to give me a ride?" And you know how it goes. It becomes a little bit awkward when a guy asks me for a ride, you know. But at the time, I had no idea, or it's actually otherwise. And funny enough, the guy did not even hesitate. He said, "No, my guy, don't worry. Let me give you a ride." We took a ride, and from that point, I just couldn't stop. I have been raving about bikes. So one day, I'm gonna buy a bike. One day, I'm gonna buy a bike. Until this last time, I decided, you know what? I think now is about time. Let me just get a bike. Bought a bike, and that's where everything started. Started riding with a couple of guys, trying to find my feet, and there were a couple of guys who actually helped me out to find my way around the bike and the riding and everything else that goes in between.
When was it? When did you start riding? And which bike was your first bike?
I think officially around 2020, 2021, around that time. And my very first bike was Jigsaw 750. Yeah, that was my very first bike. And since then, I couldn't stop, my man. I just couldn't stop. So yeah, as you know, as time goes on, you start acquiring different bikes that suits whatever that you want to achieve at the point. So yeah, from Jigsaw 750 to a couple of RRs, and that's where we are.
Okay. So far, since you said you started 2020, 21?
Yeah, around 2020, 2021, around that time.
So how many bikes have you owned so far? And then since you mentioned that you own different types of bikes, so which one do you think it was you don't wish that you've let it go, or whatever it went?
In terms of number, I need to count, but if I were to throw bones, I think I owned about 7, if not 8 different bikes. So I had two Jigsaws, and the others are with BMW S1000RR. And at the moment, as much as I wouldn't want to let go of RR, but I think it's about time for me to step out of the super bikes and maybe get into GS. So I'm really thinking about it.
The age is calling. It's not
no.
The age is calling.
Yeah.
So enough about you. Not really enough, but we're here with you. But how did the idea of ELG come about?
All right. So, like I said earlier on, as I was trying to find my feet, I rode with different guys. So obviously, the guys who start having conversations about, hey, this is what we are. We fall into this club. Do you wanna join, and a whole lot? So when I started, without having to mention clubs' names, so there are a couple of clubs that I rode with, and others really took me under their arm. And there are a couple of things that actually turned me off as part of the initiation process, you know. I'll give example. There's a particular club that said to me, look, if you want to get our colors will be this thing and the one that is behind. So you need to go through a prospecting process. A prospecting is more like a proposition of some sort, where they will teach you everything that needs to be known about the club, what they stand for, what they do, their rituals, the culture, and everything else. So I went through the process, and I got to a stage where I said, this doesn't really resonate with who and what I stand for. Okay. Then I still maintained the friendship, but I decided to excuse myself from the process. Then I went to Club B. Club B, same thing. There were a couple of things that I just didn't like. Like I said, they just did not resonate with what I stand for. And I think I rode with about two different clubs. And in between, obviously, as you grow your networks, you get to meet different people from different clubs. So you start having conversations. The guys will tell you exactly what they stand for, what they do, and a whole lot of other things. And I said, you know what? Hey, this club thing is really not for me. I think I need to look at things differently. I had to go back home and say, right, what is it that is missing? Now, the fortunate part of it is I started having conversations with the guys who were sharing same sentiments as me in terms of the bad experiences that we had through the probation period. And I said to the guys, you know what? Look, we are looking for more or less the same thing. Let us start our own thing. But we need to shy away from, at the time, we said, let's shy away from the club and have a movement. Then at the time, I did not know that there was something called a riding club. And we did not want to identify ourselves as a club, but as a movement at the time. So time went by, the guys came on board, and at the time I was by myself. Then a couple of guys started joining the ELG movement. And as we speak, we are sitting on, I think, 93, 94, give or take, 3 years later. So this was about 2023, I think. Yeah.
So you basically identified a gap in a biking community. That's what inspired you to start ELG. So for those who don't know, Grootman, yes, are you the president? He's the president. He's the president. And he's always in denial. He's the president of the ELG. Very humble, very respectful. So ELG is stand for
Extraordinary League of Gentlemen.
So what does the ELG, Extraordinary League of Gentlemen, mean to you actually? Why ELG? Why that way actually?
All right. So when I had this idea, and I said to myself, we need to do something out of the ordinary, right? That's where the extra is. Then obviously at the time we were only guys, and I said, why don't we let us have a league of our own? As I was playing with words, then that's when ELG was born. So I came up with that word, with that name rather. Then as time went by, sometimes you formulate a vision, right? But the circumstances around you normally change. So obviously you need to make adjustments to your strategy. That's when you started seeing females joining us because of, like you rightfully said, I identified a gap and I ran with it to make sure that I closed that gap. So that's when we started seeing ladies joining ELG now. And I've heard people ask me, why don't you change the name? It's going to be a bit of a challenge for us to change it, unless maybe a little bit later on. But at this point, I don't see a need for us to change a name that is well established. It's not now.
Why changing the name? How that's because the man in the gentleman is E, it's not A.
Mm-hmm. Remember, if it's A, it means it's singular. If it's E, it's plural. Yeah. So there is a way of spinning it to say, look, we are looking at human beings as men.
Yes.
So so that's how we're going to put a spin to it. But at the moment, as is, it is working, and I'm of the view that as long as it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yes.
So we will carry on with that name unless someday down the line, if there will be a need. But at this point, no, we are good. And the ladies, they appreciate the name, and we haven't received any complaints. Funny enough, amongst ourselves, nobody's complaining about it. But you've got other people outside our circle who are questioning it. And I said, no, the people are okay with it, and we're going to stick to the name as is.
When you started ELG, did you imagine that it would grow to become what it is today?
Not by a long shot. I've never, for the life of me, I've never thought it would be as big as it is. Somewhere at the back of my head, I went like, it must grow, but I never thought at this magnitude. No, I thought it would be something a little small, intimate, and but now it's growing. It's growing. Yeah, it's really growing. I never thought about it.
So how does it make you feel as a founder and a leader of ELG? Growing this big and still growing and positively growing so.
Like I said, I'm actually quite thrilled. As I said when we started talking, now I'm in a business of making a difference, and I've seen that ELG has created a platform where your solo riders or people who are not accepted in other clubs can regard this as a home, because of we are structured slightly differently as compared to your traditional club. And like I said, think about it, it just gives me goosebumps.
So, as it often said, ELG, it's not a club, it's a forum. What does it really mean, and what does it make different actually into the traditional motorcycle or motorbike clubs?
Okay, so this naming convention thing, they do change as time goes on, because of one gets to put more effort in terms of studying who saw exactly what is going on. So let me take you back a little bit. In our world, as far as I have researched, you've got your MC, you've got your MCCs, and you've got your riding clubs, right? Then I'm gonna put forum slightly on the side. So your MCs, those are your hardcore bikers, and Madagtail, yeah, those ones, those are hardcore bikers. And your MCCs, I would say, get hardcore light, so to speak. So their approach to biking slightly different as compared to the MCCs. I mean, the MCs. And based on the research that I've conducted, what I've picked up is, to get to be an MC, you need to be elevated. It's a status. So you need to go through a couple of ranks and a whole lot. So, and there's a document that I will share with you that explains as to how does one start from being an MC to get to MCC, and from MCC to MC. It's a completely different ballgame. Then you've got your riding clubs, like ourselves. So what you do is, a bunch of guys, they've got identity like a patch, and what we do is we ride. But we've got a flavor of MCC in us, because we are charity driven. We look at other things that your traditional MCC will have. However, particularly with ELG, that's why every time when you say you are president, I normally shy away from that, is because I approach things differently. I'm not into titles. I'm into responsibilities. So because of, it's pointless for me, it's pointless to give a title without a particular responsibility. I would rather give you responsibility and say you are responsible for, unlike this is your particular title, because of what I've seen is titles, they are associated with power for some people. I'm not saying that's what everybody does, but for some people, and based on what I've experienced, most of these clubs balola the position, balola the title, and a whole lot of other things. So it will be pointless for us to see these things that are happening in other clubs and then implement them. It wouldn't really make sense, So that's why I'm really shying away from those titles and say, rather, let us have people who will be responsible for.
You mentioned that you shy away from titles. You're more of responsibility type of person. So how does ELG maintain its structure and its culture without the typical club hierarchy, kind of like the president, vice president, and so forth roles, of which in most cases they divide the club. So how does it maintain its structure and culture without following those?
Well, there's one thing that I've picked up. Look, as much as you won't have your typical titles, so to speak, but it only makes sense to have somebody who will steer the ship, because there's absolutely no way the ship will move without somebody hiding behind the thing, So what I do is, at the moment, I'm the one steering the ship. However, because of we are moving away from your titles and your positions, what we do is we set out the objectives. All right, these are the things that needs to be done. All right, and because of I've got a very intimate relationship leading members, so I can draw strengths from the people that I know within the movement to say, look, this is what I need to do. Will you be able to assist? And because of this thing, it's not a title driven. People tend to raise their hands more often to say, hey, this one I can do, this one I cannot do, and all of other things. So But maybe a little bit of pressure from on my side because of I need to make sure that I understand each and every single element of operation, which I don't mind, but hence I'm saying what it helps to have a proper objectives to say these are the things that we need to achieve. So then based on who is available, the guys normally will raise their hands. Hey, this one I'll help guy and a whole lot, and it makes life a little bit easy. And sort of just to add on and one thing that I encourage the guys, we shouldn't be looking at this thing, because of most of the things that we are trying to run ELG as a corporate entity. So the things that they're learning here, they can actually apply them, come go their world of work, because of the principle is more or less the same.
No, that's proper. So, what are the core values or guiding principles that define ELG members or members?
One of the things that we preach a lot is respect. And I think that's what makes us different. Look, it doesn't necessarily mean we're not perfect. We are far from being perfect. We've got flaws just like everybody else. But what brings us together, respect towards each other. So we always say, let us disagree, but do it in a way, Yahore, tomorrow we'll be able to sit together and share a cup of coffee without having to be personal, without having to look at people differently. And one thing that I would like to mention, Gore, we've got a diversity of members kamo ELG. If you think about it, we've got it, Kamola. And when we are together, there is no way one will be treated based on any element of diversity. And that is really helping us a lot.
Yeah, that's true. We've got diverse members actually. Oh, by the way, those who don't know, I'm a fully patched member of ELG. I'm part of those diverse community with different skills.
Yeah.
See? So, how do you ensure, or how does now that I mentioned that I'm a member, and so how do actually ELG ensure that ELG remains exclusive? Because yes, ELG is exclusive.
Yeah.
And then yet maintain a sense of brotherhood and sisterhood and discipline among riders and the members, I can say.
There are a couple of things that we do. Number one, we always remind ourselves we shouldn't get into politics. We're not in the business of politics. We are there for one thing, to write and to do charity work, and let us stick to that. So all the noises that we hear, we experience on the other side, it's as hard as it is, but we try as much as possible can. So guys, let us rather use our own platform to vent. When we get there with one voice, and we really try as much as we possibly can to stay out of trouble and do what we need to do. Other than that, the rest is just history.
As we know that ELG is very impactful and it's growing exponentially. ELG has grown rapidly. So what do you think has driven the exponential growth in ELG?
Like I said, we are doing our utmost best to build a brand that an ordinary person can resonate with. I'll give example. Your MC is not for everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean if you own a bike, then you are an MC material. It can be. Same applies to MCCs. You find that certain clubs, the requirements I would include you being available every weekend. I'm just giving an example. You should be available every time when they ride. You should do X number of kilos per let's say a defined period. So now when I look at that, I said, look, this is not going to be practical. Reason being, for most of us, biking is something that we do once stress. It's not something that we do. It's not our bread and butter, so to speak, right? So, and one of the things that we as ELG put emphasis on, ELG shouldn't be number one in your life. Your family, your academic life, your work life, those things should take priority. So if we are saying that, then our constitution says you must be there at all times.
It's contradiction.
So we are saying, in order for you to be available, in order for you to get on your bike, pour some petrol, ride to wherever you're going, obviously you need to generate money. So we rather encourage you to generate money. Whenever you are ready, then come and be with us. So I think that's one of the things that make us slightly different as compared to other clubs, because of we are promoting the well-being the riders, or rather let's say members, if I can put it that way.
Okay. So how does ELG balance growth with maintaining the original spirit and vision?
We pray.
We pray.
all the time. Hey,
okay.
I guess one of the things that to sound who maintain the originality ELG. ELG is member driven. So you don't have a president who will decide where you going, when you going, a whole lot. So
you're not dictating.
No, far from it. No, never. No. So what you do is, you are saying to the guys, once again, it's all about objectives. You've got objectives. These are the things that need to be met, right? Then you bring the team onto the portal. Guys, how do we get there? This is what I'm suggesting. Obviously, you should have an idea of how those things should be or can be obtained. So you bring the team and let them be the ones driving the process. When all you need to do is just to make sure that everybody's in a motivating. And when you do that, like I always say, I don't like to throw the book over to them. I would rather inspire them to do things. Because if they're inspired, these things do not happen naturally, man. They just happen. Unless if you say, I'm the president, you're going to do this. When I say left, you're going to... No, not here. It's not going to work. No, not like ELG. What ELG does is say, these are the things that we need to do, guys. How do we get there? And let the members, if everyone not, they will wrestle amongst themselves up until such time. And that elementary respect comes in. Because of they know that even if we've got different views, I still need to respect this one. And we, in a way, use majority rule in a way, but it doesn't always work. Because of we see things differently, and it doesn't necessarily mean if we all see this thing this way, it means it's the right way. Somebody might come with an opposing view for as long as they can present their case in a way that they will convince the others as how system goes.
So based on the previous question and how you explain how ELG is much different and is doing things differently compared to the traditional riding club MCs. So what impact do you think that ELG has done on the broader biking community in South Africa?
It's a lot. Okay, let me start with this one. All right. So if you look at how the biking community, especially when we've got events being rally, day tour, whatever the case may be, there has always been this thing, Yahore, you are not patched, or you don't belong to any club, or you don't belong to any council, right? So when we came onto the picture, what we've done is we have been fighting so much to destroy that wall. And I always say, Rona as ELG, we don't build walls, we want to build bridges. Because of, let me tell you how we view people. When it doesn't matter whether you ride RR, or you ride Jigsaw, or you ride Vela, before that matter. At the end of the day, we've got one thing in common: the passion, biking. So, and what really drives me to drink is, we go to a particular event. Let's take ELG event. You go to ELG event, gating, damage 150. When Otamanga Velap, you're gonna pay 150. Or Otamanga RR, Otamanga Opatala 150. Otamanga Busa Opatala 150. So everybody's paying the same thing, right? Then you bring these people, Kamo party. Let's take it a little bit further. When we've got charity drives, the very same person, Otamanga Velap, what about donator? This is my donation. Please help those kids that you are assisting, right? Or for whatever satisfy it shouldn't matter what it is, but what contribute. Same applies to let's take Cooper Chicks, for example. we had an event and we had Cooper Chicks, Kamola. Those ladies, they're driving Mini Coopers and they've made a huge contribution to the kids Narabatus. Now, we've worked from A up until Kumafelu. They contributed, they went there, they played with kids, they used their petrol to go to where we're delivering those things. Once we are done, then we go back to the venue. For the life of me, I just don't understand. Why should it be like when we start playing, you are saying, hey, when are you another biker? Biang, guys, why? And it doesn't make sense. Not only that, look at it this way. That's why I said sometimes we need to start thinking out of the box. I am of the view that we have somehow contributed in terms of how those ladies view bikers.
Yes.
When they drive, when they start hearing a bike coming, I am certain that their behavior is going to change. Not only them, and I'm not saying I'm not saying otherwise, but I am certain that within their individual circles, they will start having those conversations. Guys, bikers are not as bad as we think they are. No, they're not. These are normal people who are trying to make a difference. So what happens is when you hear them, because before they see us, they want to hear us first, right? Because because of our loud pipes.
I'm not you.
Things have changed, eh?
You changed exhaust.
Yeah, no, things have changed.
I was coming too much on the show.
Things have changed. Okay. So, because of the conversations about Ramadan, just a minor thing, my sister, let me tell you, this is how we write, right? As we educate, all you need to do is just move an inch, just an inch. I promise you, you're not going to lose anything. You will make so much difference because of now. So what we did not do it only for ELG, but it takes a special person to really think and see things differently. Because of now, those ladies, and it's not only them, and I'm not saying they are the ones, but I believe we have helped them to see things differently in terms of bikers. And I would love to believe they will start having conversations with their people as well to say, hey guys, man, these guys, this is how they do things and a whole lot. All you need to do is let's find a way to share the road. Now, by so doing, maybe we have saved one life.
Oh, many. I do believe it's not one. But it's
you know what I'm saying? That's so. Hence, I'm saying, why do you want to sideline them?
Yeah, no.
It makes no sense. Why do? Because of hence, like I said earlier on, our aim is to build bridges, not to build walls. Mm-hmm. So you've got people who are saying, yeah, but you cannot do this. This is a Mickey Mouse thing and a whole lot. And I respect their views, right? No. Some people don't want to. There are some people. Some people. So and I'm asking myself, why should we reduce ourselves to that? Because of what we do, we're not doing it for us. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, hey guys, you did something out of the ordinary. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are ELG after all. So bringing the motorist into our space, it educates them.
A very key thing to do, actually.
You know what I'm saying? So why sideline them?
Because now they go to their motorist events, they will share the experience. Exactly. And then they'll educate someone who was not even there.
Exactly.
So that's a very key thing, actually.
And not only that, guys, we need to start educating motorists. Not for us, but for the entire biking fraternity, because we are losing so many people based on accidents. And when you sit and you analyze, you say, this thing could have been avoided. It could have. The only thing that one should have done was just to move, as an example. Not only that, I remember Mr. RR once said this. He said, look, when you see the light, small light, guys, please bear in mind that thing is way too fast. Before you know it will be right here. Unlike changing lanes and a whole lot, you are better off being exactly where you are, and we will find our way. Simple as that. But such conversation, remember he said this once, it's fortunate for me, I still remember, but for people who don't have interest like your motorist, will they remember? No, but if we constantly talk about this thing, it will start sinking in. So we need to start doing things differently. Events is not about us flaunting our power or flaunting the bikes that we've got. We need to have paradigm shift. How do we make contribution to the community at large? And those of us who are in leadership role, we should start having those conversations with people who are more influential, unlike pushing them away. All of other things. So without having to bombard yourself, in my opinion, start small, work on your skill, then then you can look at upgrading. But starting big, now I must say I've paid the price. I want more. Come, day 4. So
Day 4.
Day 4, yeah.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
I took a chance. Hey. So I bought a bike Friday night. So nearly go our clubhouse. I saw this guy. Hey, my man, Kalogo was a bike. The guy said, bike, you will have got it. Okay, tomorrow let's go see it. Called the guy, Saturday. Gazamaya, we did the transaction. I was obviously I was not Gazamaya. I had no idea the bike was started. So the guy gets a month long and promised no the following day go route and the guy never pitched. But me being me, can some YouTube like there's no tomorrow. That's how I actually learned to ride the bike. So I rode Sunday. No, I did the video Saturday night. Sunday came as the guy when I said late in the afternoon. You know what? I'm doing this thing. I got like a helmet. Started bike like on the blog. It was a little bit late. The following day, Monday, I did the same thing. I bought helmet Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I got mid-rent. Yeah. Freeway po naga mamal. Kana metsi pila ka mid-rent ka 16 ke tsana ka new road. Ke tsana ka 16. This guy o betle U10 mo pelaka. A go reba Uber po ye. Ho pedika. Ka re di break ka ba. You know what happens. Libile le jeka but I get the grill mohatse.
And definitely you're not wearing gear.
No, I had the only thing that I had already did la for the helmet. So yeah. This thing on my knee, nebule heel. It was like nebule heel so.
What's a Robert?
No, I like enough for Robert.
Mr. Raff.
Mr. Raff. It's okay. I know ELG because we are Arab wood. Wait. So so the guys bago health and safety ba tla banthusanya namola and bampoto you need to go to the hospital hospital as go yang go.
Wait.
No, I'll manage. Yeah, it was painful. But ke hope ke wile ka remela bike hape ke go spanning and namela happy. Ne ho etsi di food peg. But it was okay. So the nanani a workshop was spanning. So those guys back on no way lukisa yana mo ba lukisa somebody. And yeah. So currently the following day I couldn't write because it was painful. Kananyana. The following week, I started looking for parts. That's where I met Ngozi. So then I'm on the line, online. Kamofonela, but that's how we met. And we've been buddies ever since.
Sugar Reps.
Yeah.
Sugar Reps. So since when you started riding, what was your memorable ride or memorable period or moment?
I think the first day get tricky. Yeah, I think one of that day,
which bike were you using to try?
Kileka K4 Suzuki.
Okay.
Kileka K4 Suzuki. Van Damme, yeah. It was a calculated move because I knew what I ate there, but there's a possibility of things might happen. So, do you think do you do this one? And so, let me do this one. It's gonna be easy and cheaper to fix. Should something go wrong? Yeah, I did that, and that bike is very quick. That bike is very, yeah. Mara, there's this boys. Bafana want to traumatize it. My brother, Bafana want to traumatize it. I think 12, 13, 14, somewhere, but some guy for 100. Aban says the mates. Ibile porn.
The gap of 600.
Bafana want says the mates. And after that, that's when I started appreciating what sometimes not about the bike itself, it's the skill you need to work on improving your skill set. So that on its own, besides, I had so many rides, but if there's one thing that stands out ever since, is that moment. Because of Lena in Pile, in the like a paradigm shift, I shouldn't be focusing on getting the most expensive bike, the quickest bike ever. No, calm down and start working on your skill set because of Ushagan Fana, everything that you can think of. Marotamaka 400. Maro what's meter, baby. So my bike is very fast, but 400
that's all bring
wow. My battle no, I think we speak the same different language.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, so one of the guests which I had, Willie King, KB, he mentioned actually, or it's actually it's more about your skill than what you write.
Yeah.
So actually, before starting to get to know your bike or work on your skills.
And it's right. It's right.
It's true.
And I think that's the mistake. We buy bikes that we can afford, not the bikes that are relevant, that are appropriate for our skill set. Because of, and I know some people might say you're talking crap because of negative and nothing happened. But remember, you might probably be 1 in a million. But the general rule of thumb, it should be start classy and work on your skill. Because of what's one, a 12-year-old of a Ferrari. No, man, no, you can't. So at least get to a stage where you have perfected your skill, then at least now you can start moving on bigger bike. Because of one other thing, your attitude, Leona, it means a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
I ridang RR. I ridang RR because I'm 600. When I does things because of experience, 600, I would want to keep up. And this brings me to another thing. We also need to be mindful of the people that we ride with, especially really experienced. There are people who are what you do is now here I am. I recently bought a bike because I'm lead these guys, but those are throttle freaks.
Yes.
Now what's gonna happen? Having to try to keep up. I don't ride my ride anymore. I ride your ride, and that's the recipe for disaster. So those are the things that one needs to be mindful of when you get onto the bike or and I would like to make a plea to the guys who are experienced. I think we've got a responsibility to assist those who are not experienced because of Lorona, we were once there. I remember there's a guy, Juster. When I did my very first group ride, he was a road captain, and the guys they did hold my hand. So I will never forget what they have done for me, and I always say I'm gonna carry on doing that for others. So if let's make time now. Yeah, but if we got someone who are saying why use that time, Luciana?
And now it also put you as an experienced rider on a danger. Now you wanna do 280, 260, 280, 260 with someone who has never done that before alone. Now the person doesn't know how to apply the brakes, when to apply the brakes.
So you're also endangering your own life as well. So we need to be very mindful. So I think we need to start changing gears. We are in the business of helping those who need help. So, and I'm not gonna lie. Then there are days where I feel like, you know what, I just want to go and open that thing. But there should be a time and place for doing that. You can't do that when you've got a peg. Yeah, the guys who recently started riding. That's asking for trouble.
Can you share a memorable story or a milestone that truly defines ELG journey? So we've been talking much about your personal experience. Now, a memorable story or milestone that truly defines ELG.
When I started joining Backhaven, there's this thing where charity is our fuel. And I did ride on that wave. So once again, how do I also make an impact in terms of assisting those who are less privileged? So every year when we go to the home that we've identified, Eritusa, the smile on those kids' face, gosh. I mean, I don't know, not because of I love kids. And having to see them pass smile because of the level that we've brought for them. Now for now, it takes the cake. It really takes the care. It doesn't matter how many members we've got. It doesn't matter which social position. For now, those are neither here nor there. But look at the impact we ran ko banning ba re claimang hore fuel charities our fuel. So having to help them. Look and coming to the of it, let's say some of the pictures that were taken on the day when we had our event. So there were these little girls. One of the Kuba chicks were talking to one. Or is it, you can see how they were glowing. I don't know exactly what they were talking about, but from a distance, I can only assume one day I wish I can. And I would say and such things now I believe those are the things that will push you and push them as well to say, I want to do better. I want to be like, we're not saying be like anyone, but you look at someone with, then I want to achieve like the person who works saying it's a benchmark, but I think you hear what I'm saying. So having to use ELG as a platform to assist these kids, enough for now, at any given day or time, I'm there.
What kind of leadership philosophy is it applied within ELG?
Like I said, I'm one person. I believe in inspiring people, unlike having to make them to comply. Obviously, there's certain things that we need to comply to, but when it comes to steering the ship, using your title or your position to get things done, for me does not work. I'm that kind of a leader who would roll up their sleeves and do what needs to be done. So I don't sit and say, hey, when I do this, I'll give example. Our event. So I went to the bathrooms or the shower. The guys who were camping. And I saw them, they were not in a state that I would have loved them to be. What I've done is I went, come with the guys for maintenance. Please give me things. We need to clean those things. What I've done is I started literally cleaning those toilets. And guess what? Some of the ELG members came and jumped in and do what needed to be done. Now, what have we learned from this thing? It becomes easy if you lead by example, regardless of how dirty the work is. Then you've got people saying, you know what? You don't have to tell me. Give me another mop. Give me another this. Let me somebody do it. And that's how we get things done. So if I were to stand there and say, I'm a president, I'm not going to do this. Do you expect them to do it? Oh, well, no. Stand up and do it, and they will just follow. So if you start instilling that culture, let the next person they're not going to wait for you to tell them. They're going to say, you know what? I know if Grootman was here, he was going to do this. Let me do what needs to be done. So it goes back to that thing. We need to be inspiring the people that we lead, unlike having to throw the book.
That's so profound. Number one member of ELG.
Yeah.
So, what are the misconceptions people do have about ELG, and how do you address them?
Obana, at the beginning, these guys, most of the people, they thought that I reason to read, and they was no. I remember some very influential person said, "Lona legas lasting one," and we went on some podcast, and I said to the guy, "You said we won't last a year, but we're on our second year. That was last year. We're on the second year," and they thought, we are just spineless people who are just doing things randomly, and they don't understand the amount of work that we put Kamara ELG. And they also think ELG is free for all. As much as it's easier to get Kamo ELG, and most of people don't know there are people that we reject.
And it's easy.
It's easier as compared to MCC and MC. It's easier, but there are certain things that if we don't tick those things on our tick list, you won't be accepted. So ever since ELG Top, I think there's about, if I'm not mistaken, about 7 or 8 people that we said no. So it's not really free for all as it might look.
You get screened to be a member of ELG.
Yeah. So we do screening, and if there are things that are a little bit iffy about you, we said nope. And like the name says itself, we are extraordinary. So if said that doesn't really talk to what we stand for, unfortunately we can't.
So, do you want to name a few the things that might make you be rejected within ELG, or the things that might give you the opportunity to be selected to be a member of ELG?
Right. So we've got our circle is small. When I say our circle, I mean within Beckerville. I might not necessarily be the same club as Gwen, right? But because of we see and we experience each other on a regular basis, I know Gwen is just one of those people. Or not too much, for example, right? The comments that you make on your socials and all that. So we look at those things. Is this person the right fit for us? And I think you have picked this thing up. My ELG, let's say, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, guys who are really holding it together. So we wouldn't want to bring someone or adult division. So, and once again, regardless of how different we are, we've got one thing in common. We want to protect the brand ELG. Hence, I said to you the other earlier on, Hore, we had a situation whereby our name it was bashed, and ELG members were really dying to say, you know what, we need to go and fight, and you know what, guys, let us pull ourselves together and leave this thing as is, because of after this we're gonna deal with the aftermath. So you need people who are level-headed who say, I know that I'm matured enough not to pick the fight. It's ELG. That's one example. The other example, if you are not a team player, I'm a man, excuse yourself. Excuse yourself because ELG. ELG is about playing in a team. It's not about an individual, it's about everyone. So if those are the things that when they don't really talk to you, no, it's not going to work. And so another thing that I want to mention, your reputation means a lot. Because of once wapara the page ya ELG, haesale kwena wa nko fela. Ke kwena wa nko wa ELG.
How do you deal with challenges, internal conflicts, public perceptions, or managing strong personalities? As you mentioned that we've got different, diverse personalities and characteristics within ELG, and then also even within the biking community, of which they might directly or indirectly affect ELG. So how has it been managed?
The beauty ka ELG is we've got capable people. You've got Batwabaling strong in different areas, and because of we are a team, we do consult with each other. So I've got, from my side, I've got a team, gives an advisory team. So because of so if I'm confronted with some of such challenges, I go to the guys and guys, this is what I've got. How do we work around it? So they help me to challenge my own perceptions because of their very strong people. And the beauty when I consult, they've got the guts to tell me where to get off, and that's one thing that I like about them. That's why I don't like the title president. Once you start putting this title, you start counting your words. I can't because of that thing. So when you say, guys, I'm gonna level the playing field, we are the same, we are equal. I need you to be very honest with me. If I'm messing up, I need you to tell me. And those guys, they do tell me where to get off. And that's what I want, because of I don't get to be comfortable in my own zone, if I can put it that way, because of they help me to challenge how I see things, and through them, then we can start putting our heads together and react to some of these things. So in terms of the strong personalities that we've got, I think that's one of the most challenging things that we experience come ELG. ELG members are very passionate. They are very passionate. in different thing. So you've got members who are very strong-willed, and some of them, they prefer to do things katsela ite. Now, how do you then balance the two? You give them an ear, and most importantly, I am of the view, Hore, whatever you do, have your objectives beforehand. Guys, these are the things that we need to achieve. So regardless of how different our opinions are, for as long as that we are talking about will fit into the objectives, let's go with it.
I think now let's get into the future of ELG. What's the next for ELG, and then where do you see ELG in the next 5 years? I really hate that question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? But yeah, let's just put it that way. Where do you see the future of ELG, the next of it?
You know, I think we want to pay attention more on building ELG. Internally, there are a couple of things that we want to introduce, and we want to make things different as compared to other clubs. But we'll talk about that some other time. In terms of growth, as you know, we have launched Forum Alliance, and ELG was fortunate enough to be part of the group that actually saw it from the ground upwards. So we also want to build the Forum Alliance, ensure that it becomes a monster like ELG is. So the fortunate part is we've got people who vested enough interest and who are committed in terms of seeing it that it grows. I'm talking about our member clubs, your M109 through Maestro, your Soweto Panthers, your Immortals, Duquena, Luke, SWAT. We've got a whole lot of other clubs who came together and say, this is where we want to go. So whilst we are building Forum Alliance, ELG will be right next to it. So we will be changing how we do things to suit the current environment. So this year, we are trying to, when I say this year, because we're in our new financial year. So for 2026, we want to go a little bit bigger than we were in 2025. And as you know, we've got the Northwest chapter. We want to grow that chapter as well. It's growing nice and easy, but I think we can do better. So I want us to pay more attention to that chapter. And before end of next year, and before end of 2026, we should introduce another chapter. Which one? Stay tuned and you'll find out. But there will be the second chapter that we're going to introduce.
Guys, the second chapter is in Mpumalanga, and I'm the number one member in Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga Bikers, come to ELG. So yeah, that's really quite interesting. So are there any upcoming project initiative or partnerships that ELG is excited to be part of? Actually, obviously, it's gonna be something that I don't mind, or the ELG doesn't mind to be on a public domain.
Yeah.
It's something maybe that it's still, the water's still boiling.
Yeah. Like I said with Quipper Chicks, we want to get into the motorist space. We want to do that for the interest of Beckerville at large, not only for ELG, but we would like to be the ones echoing that. So we have partnered with SimH, and we want to see how best we can assist those guys in terms of creating more awareness. And there are other projects that you're going to get involved with. At this point, it's still early to mention them because we still need to refine them. But I hope I will get an invitation and we'll talk about them more. But our immediate one is to find a way to build a bridge between the bikers and the motorists, because we are more of saving the lives of the bikers. So if you start inviting the motorists like your Kuba Chicks, and we've got the dealership who are on board, we've got VW Hetfield who are on board. So we're going to find a way. We are not sure yet as to how we're going to do it, but we're going to find a way to bring these guys together so that everybody can benefit. It's not only about ELG.
That's it's a beast move, I can say. So you'd find that some other biking club or riding clubs or MC or MCCs Honestly, what I've noticed out there is that they don't pay too much into the motorist side partnership, of which is a good thing. And either way, directly or indirectly, so they form part of bikers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good move. What message do you have for the new generation of the riding community?
Number one, they must join ELG. That's the first thing they need to do. No, on a serious note, I think my message to them would be, please ride your ride. Ride your ride. If you ride with people who are putting you under pressure, please move away. Move away. If you feel that I'm under pressure, whether kick a skill or the kind of bike that I've got, my man, just move away. Get people who will encourage you to do right. And as more than anything, we can replace bikes and a whole lot of other things, but our lives we cannot, we just cannot replace. So hang around people who will help you to be better and do not allow yourself to be under any amount of pressure.
No, let's fix that. I'm not part of the community which
okay.
doing PR for RR. I've got a very good friend of mine. He's riding a 150cc. He has an Insta 360. The only camera that's worth more than the bike. So we are good.
Yeah.
So it's not about what we ride basically.
Yeah, but on a serious note, so one shouldn't be under pressure. The guys that I hang around with, they ride bigger and better bikes than me. It shouldn't be like that. And like you said, Ronagam ELG, we've got a guy who's riding 150, and we love the guy to bits. So it's fairly new rider, and we're really molding him to be a responsible biker more than anything, and that's what you need to do. So hang around people who will always encourage you to do better without having to put you under pressure. Because of truth be told, biking is a very expensive hobby. So you're saying you're already 150. No, you need to get an RR. No.
And honestly, sorry to disturb you, it's not only the 150cc ride. We've got quite a few which are below 600.
Yeah.
In which they're riding smooth, they're confident, which is it's a good thing.
Yeah. So let's just, like I said, find people who will encourage you to do better without having to put you under any amount of pressure. Yeah. So that would be my advice to the new riders. They must join ELG.
How would you like ELG to be remembered in the history of South African biking culture? Whether in your presence or in your absence?
ELG should be remembered as the first movement that challenges status quo at all levels.
Status quo,
Status quo, you get into a space where no one has ever had the guts to say, but this thing is not right. So, and I think with the caliber of people that we've got, they've got it in them to say, let's stand up. Wrong is wrong, regardless of who does it. Wrong is wrong. And what I like about ELG members, they know when they challenge that what's going to happen afterwards. And because of the unity that they've got, they constantly build the strength to challenge it because of they want to make things better. And then they know that even if I do it, I know I've got the backing of my fellow group members. So ELG should be remembered of that. So it's the first to challenge, to move things around.
And shake some.
And another one. A 3-year-old baby. Just under 100 members. I honestly don't think there's ever been a club that has ever achieved that. I honestly don't think. If there is, I'll eat humble pie back on Ponsanyon, and we are still growing. And not just people who own bikes. We are talking about people who ride on regular basis. And another thing, I think one of the things that will be remembered, Rona, if there's one thing, we support and we ride bikes. You see us everywhere. I remember there was a time when we were even Ep004. There was some in Mpumalanga, some in Northwest, some in Gauteng, and ELG was everywhere. Yeah. So we keep on pushing, and that's what we want our members to do. To remember, look, we're here to write. We support. We stay away from politics. We write. We support, and with hope, or Lorna will get the same thing.
Grootman,
Sure.
we had a very interesting and insightful conversation, and what I like more about is that you are very intelligent and you're very smart, and you don't just you're willing to grow beyond that. You're not saying, or I got this here, I'm here. So you're always willing to learn, even something which is not within your specialty, but you keep on trying to make yourself a better person, and you're really a good person, you're a better person, but you're always trying to make it more better. So, of which is something that we as ELG members, on behalf of all the ELG members, we appreciate that, and other bikers out there. So yeah, maybe let's cover this. Maybe how would you like to see? Okay, no, not how you like to see it actually. Yeah, how you like to see the biking fraternity or the biking culture. The biking culture in South Africa as a whole shifting to the direction. So it's a question. This is a question from our previous guest.
Yeah.
So in our culture here in Riders and Pillions Podcast. So you leave your question for the next guest. So our previous guest was Julie S1000 RR. So the question was, how would you like to see or shift the biking fraternity in South Africa?
One of the things that really irks me is the discrimination that we are facing. If we can get to a stage where we eliminate all the elements that discrimination, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you are black, white, pink, purple, maroon, whether Otamaka S1000 or Otamaka 150, or you are breathing flavored air. At the end of the day, we are all bikers, and we should treat each other as such. And not to my surprise, now is I don't understand this thing. When I can promise you, get on a bike or stay on the side of the road. Trust me when I say this, a fellow biker is gonna stop. Whether umatlapu, whether black, whether pink. Now I've experienced that. I remember getla mitrent. Ngile ka le problem ya bike, o kwana na problem ya state. Just before Geneva New, nehano charge. There was this white guy. We man, I'm also a rider. I'm gonna be behind you. I will help you. That guy went to sister and Sasolo garage. And I said, and the guy said to me, look, I know how it feels like because I'm a biker, and I always say, anyone who is on a bike is also a brother of mine, right? And I can assure you, this is the practice that everyone now within Bikerville, whether moto umotlabong effing is neither here nor there. But there comes a time, especially with eventing, where that thing flies out of the window. And I'm asking myself, but why? Why are we doing this? So we need to start challenging our leaders to say, please help us to remove these elements of diversity. So if there's one thing that I would like to change, is for us to start treating each other respect without having to take any element of diversity into account.
You covered a lot of quite interesting things. So what's your dream bike right now?
Yo, my dream bike, guys. Yo, GSA 1250 triple black. That's my dream bike. Give me that bike. I'm gonna do things with that bike. Heaven knows. Yo, I'm gonna buy each and every single accessory you can think of. It will be on that bike. The spotlight, probably I have about 6. Hey, I'm gonna do things. I am gonna do things with that bike. So yeah, one day when I'm big, I'm going for that bike. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very nice bike.
Yeah.
I've also ridden it. I think it's big.
Yeah.
But it gives you that joy, man. The suspension.
That's the thing,
Or
man.
from moving from a super bike to it, there's a quite different change.
Yeah, I know there's a difference. And I think one of the things that the Intrilogy appreciate this bike, Niki Raidilele, deputy president, ya Sapa, staff.
Okay.
And the guy held that thing from my figure. And that's one of the reasons I said, you know what, I think it's about time. You know, considering Hore, he's a big man like me. And remember, now I was on RR. He held that thing. No kuno wana the amount of effort in IBA versus what I was putting. It was easy for that guy, man. It was easy. And we had to keep up, Liena. And I said, you know, responsibly so. I think we were doing anything between 160 and 180. But hence I'm saying it's all about effort. And you know, you're a super bike. To maintain 180, it's easy, but you work. You work. So if you can do that on GS, why not go for it? Because you'll have the best of both worlds. In a power, in a speed, in a hey man, the wheels and bezels. So yeah, that's my dream bike. I'm going there.
So this is the last one before we close. And it comes second last before the last question. One quote or say that sums up your philosophy in life and riding.
As a leader, if you are not willing and prepared to be led, you are not prepared to be a leader. Let me repeat. As a leader, if you are not prepared to be led, you are not a leader. You must be prepared to be led, even if you are the one leading. So, what do I mean by that? The guys that you are leading, they should lead you as well. You can't do everything we want. These guys, they should be the one helping you to realize where your dangas is going. So that's what I live by. That's why I believe in consulting. You need to consult the people that you are leading.
You must not just take things upon yourself. Okay, yeah, that's very profound. So the last one. Leave a question for the next guest. It will either be a rider or someone who used to ride or someone who loves bike. So I'm just giving you an idea of how you can curate, but most definitely it will be a rider or someone who is in the biking community.
This question will stem from the one that I got, and I'm going to phrase it differently because I believe that you're going to get a different answer. With the challenges that we've got within bike relating to the discrimination that we all face, what is it that needs to be done in order to eliminate that?
Okay. So basically you're saying mathata le gona no in the bike v
particularly around discrimination.
Okay.
Yeah. So but we know it's a known fact there's discrimination in Bekaville. When you don't belong, when udrileng, therefore, and whole of other things, right? Now, King is sincere to make sure we shy away from such things.
Okay.
And there are certain people who are perpetuating this thing. You know, what is it that needs to be done in order for us not to experience the same thing, discrimination?
All right, that's a very good one. So, Riders and Pillow, thank you for staying tuned this long. We really appreciate your efforts and using your data and being on the screen to this long. We had a very insightful conversation with Grootman Matlala. So please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.